He may not be the most efficient player in the league, but every time Jalen Green plays, the Houston Rockets are must-see TV. It's been nearly 4 years since the rebuilding Rockets drafted the shooting guard as the generational replacement for James Harden. And while it's obvious that Jalen's nowhere close to being a generational superstar, he has shown potential signs that he's yet to fully develop. What needs to happen for him to reach the next level? How many opportunities is he going to need to show that he can be the leader of a roster that can compete in the Western Conference? Nobody doubts that he has some unique qualities. In fact, we're probably talking about one of the top 5 athletes in the most athletically demanding league in the world. He can also score off the dribble, he can slash and finish at the rim, and he has that swag that makes him unique. But what else does Jalen Green need? When is he going to be able to take the ultimate step? In order to answer that question, we have to start at the beginning. Jalen Romond Green was born on February 9, 2002 in the city of Merced, California. Through his mother, Brie Berganen's genetics, Jalen's only the 3rd Filipino descent ever in NBA history after Raymond Townsend and Jordan Clarkson. His stepfather, Marcus Green, who actually played high school basketball at Fresno with former NBA guard Deshaun Stevenson, was pivotal in developing Jalen in his youth. Together combining Filipino and American culture, Brie and Marcus were able to instill a work ethic in Jalen necessary to become the NBA player he is today. His high school career began at San Joaquin Memorial, also in Fresno. And by the age of 14, he had made it clear that he was already one of the best players in the entire state. Despite always having a guard's height, Jalen averaged 18 points and 9 rebounds per game as a freshman. And that was just the beginning. As a sophomore, he averaged 27.9 points and 7.7 rebounds per game and led his school to win the Central Section Division II title. Not only did he win the title again as a junior, but he also increased his averages to 30.1 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 3.6 assists per game. And as a senior, he increased them even more to 31.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. It's not that Jalen Green was one of the best guards in the country, he was simply the best. And that's not just my opinion, that's the opinion of the top 3 scouting agencies in the world. 24/7 Sports, Rivals, and ESPN all gave him 5 stars, and all of them placed him in one of the top 2 positions of the best prospects in his class. Although it's always a big jump that players are sometimes unprepared for, everyone knew Jalen was going to be a stud in college. However, he decided not to take that path. It was a very strange decision for someone in his situation, for someone who had dozens of Division I offers and who every NCAA coach wanted to have on his roster. Top programs like Kansas, Kentucky, Arizona, Oklahoma State, UCLA, Oklahoma, UConn, or Villanova offered a spot to a player who was looking to be generational. But Jalen Green decided that he wouldn't play basketball for free anymore. The shooting guard signed with the Ignite of the G League to make the jump to professional basketball a year early. A path that, while unproven, would allow him to earn $500,000 for training with one of the best coaching staffs in the country while facing pro players of all ages. A risky decision that could have cost him a few positions in the draft. But far from falling, Jalen once again exceeded expectations. His number in the G League were more than satisfactory, averaging 17.9 points, 4.1 rebounds, and 2.8 assists per game, with percentages of 46% in 2-point shots, 37% in 3-pointers, and 83% in free throws. Not only that, but the Ignite managed to finish with a positive record of 8 wins and 7 losses at the end of the season. At this point, everyone knew that Jalen would be drafted in one of the first positions of the 2021 draft. And it was the Houston Rockets who made this a reality, as only Cade Cunningham's name came before his on that June night. After the departure of James Harden months earlier, Green was becoming the new hope for the Houston franchise. He was the savior who had to pull them out of the hole, but the process has been slower than people expected. Yes, Jalen finished 4th in the Rookie of the Year race with averages very similar to those he posted in the G League the year before. But his progression during his second year was cut short by his inefficiency. The 55% true shooting percentage that he posted during his rookie season is still, to this day, his career high. His offensive progression and advanced stats indicate that Green is not such a beneficial offensive player. His PER is also not above NBA average, and his box plus-minus has yet to be positive in his 3-season career. But still, the Rockets remain confident in him, starting him at the 2-guard position. So what do they see that they can't see in his stats? Well, the answer's simple. When Jalen's confident, he's a relentless scorer. The only problem? Well, he's always been a pretty inconsistent player. The second half of last season was arguably the best months of his career. After being heavily criticized by fans and experts, Jalen finally found his modus operandi to become the player he had seemed to project during his high school career. For March 2024 until the end of the last regular season, Green averaged 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 4.1 assists with 46% from the field, 37% in three-pointers, and 79% in free throws. Numbers that, by today's standards on a relatively successful team, should be the threshold for what's considered all-star talent. Those months, Jalen was him, in every aspect. But most importantly, the Rockets were extremely good under his leadership. That's right, Houston won 16 of those 23 games, a winning percentage from a team that should finish the season in one of the top 3 positions in the conference. And that's when we get to the current timeline. Jalen's once again having an inefficient season. For the first time in his career, he's under 40% shooting from the field. For the first time in his career, he's below 33% on three-pointers. Yet, the Houston Rockets are in one of the top 4 spots in the Western Conference. Maybe the issue is they need a player like Jalen to unlock the rest. Green's got a unique ability. He's able to make something out of nothing. He's able to take a shot when everyone else is unable to make a play. He's that wild card you can use when no one's able to carry the offense. Even if sometimes he's not the most efficient player, he has a superstar mentality. And that at times is necessary on teams that lack pure scorers. The Rockets are an incredible team. In some ways, they're reminiscent of the Oklahoma City Thunder of 10 years ago. Players with enormous potential like Jalen himself, Alperen Sengun, Thompson, Sheppard, or Tari Eason combined with veterans like Fred VanVleet, Dillon Brooks, or Steven Adams to create a unique system. Because Houston's not only the 3rd best defense in the league, they're also one of the fastest teams in the NBA. Their accelerated pace, coupled with their tremendous intensities, created an identity under Udoka. And what's more optimistic is that they're currently 4th in a terribly tough and competitive Western Conference. And this is probably the worst Rockets team we're going to see in the next few years. It takes anarchy in an orderly system. It takes a player who can see another dimension of the game, a relentless player who's able to change the pace and mindset of a team. Every NBA team needs that player who can bend the rules to achieve something positive. In the case of the Rockets, that player's Jalen Green. As time goes by, that inefficiency will correct itself. Belonging to a franchise with a winning culture will allow him to gain experience in important moments. At 22 years old, Jalen Green's younger than players like Dalton Knecht, who were drafted just a few months ago. However, there's one thing you can't teach in basketball: the brashness, the aggressiveness, the desire to score every time you get the ball in your hands. The traits of a scorer who can change the mood of a team with his presence on the court. The chaos within the order. Without Jalen Green, the Rockets would not be more efficient. They'd be more predictable. They'd be a team who couldn't surprise you in the same way. That's why his teammates, Udoka and Raphael Stone, continue to give opportunities to a player with one of the brightest futures in the NBA.